Good day everyone, I am Angelic Anne Magat and today we will be exploring an essential part of plant structure's stems. Can you determine the similarities between a plant stem and a road? Did you know that plant stems are like nature's highways? They transport water, nutrients, and food all around the plant without traffic jams. Imagine if we had a stem instead of planes, wouldn't that make biology class even more interesting? Today we are going to explore the fascinating structure of plant stems and see why they are more than just a stick that holds up the plant. For our objectives, we must identify the main components of plant stems, recognize the described the epidermis, cortex, vascular tissues, cambium, and pith. We must understand the functions of plant stems, explain how stems support the plant, transport substances, and store nutrients. For the last one, we must explore the roles of stems in plant growth and development, understand the growth and the importance of plant stems. Stems are usually the aerial part of the plant axis. Like the roots of the plant, stems are generally long and branched. Unlike roots, they grow above the ground. The stems are positioned between the roots and the leaves. The stem therefore supports aerial and plant parts like leaves, flowers, and fruits, and conduction of water, minerals, and food substances between the roots and the leaves. The stem therefore has two principal functions, namely, they serve as the great highway for the conduction of water, mineral salts, and manufactured food. They bear and support the leaves, flowers, and fruits. A stem with its leaves is called a shoot. All the stems and leaves of a plant constitute its shoot system. Stems are of a great variety of types. Some plants have herbaceous stems with little or no woody tissues and are usually short-lived. Others have woody and tough stems and are long-lived. Still others have suffuscent stems that are woody only at the base. Most stems grow above the ground and are described as aerial or epithelian. Those below the ground are subterranean or underground. Some stems grow in horizontal position and are termed runners or stolons. Some are weak and cannot support themselves. These are called twiners, tendril climbers, or scramblers depending on the structures used for support. For the external structures of stems, the various external structures of stems that distinguish them from the roots are the following. Nodes, more or less swollen portion of the stem, where leaves, branches, and buds arise. Internodes, the intervening portion between two consecutive nodes. Leaf scar, the mark left on the stem by a falling leaf. Its shape depends upon the shape at the base of the leaf stalk. Lenticels, tiny raised pores on the dicot stems for gaseous exchange. Buds, underdeveloped structures which may grow into foliage leaves, shoots, or flowers. Bundle scars, cut ends of the vascular bundle seen within each leaf scar, and other scars depending upon the structure have dropped out from the stem, such as twig scars and fruit scars. Buds can also be classified. The most common ones are terminal or apical, located at the tip of the stem, lateral or axillary, located at the upper angle formed by the leaf stalk and the stem, which is called leaf axil, accessory or supernumerary, located beside or above the axillary bud, adventitious, located on the other parts of the plant such as leaves, roots, and internodes. As to the presence or absence of a protective covering, buds are either protected if the buds has a bud scale or bud scales, which are modified stipules, naked if the bud has no bud scale. As to the structures into which they develop, buds may be classified into vegetative bud, which gives rise to the leaf and stem, flower bud, or the fruit bud, which gives rise to the flower and fruit, mixed bud, which gives rise to both leaf and flower. A cross-section of a stem at the very tip shows a mass of actively dividing cells called the promeristem. A very short distance from the tip is the protoderm, which includes the epidermis that contains kidney-shaped guard cells between which there is a pore or stomatal aperture. The ground meristem, which showcases the ground tissues, the cortex, the pith, and pith rays. In dicot stems, the cortex found beneath the epidermis is composed of an outer zone of collenchymas and an inner zone of parenchyma. The pith parenchyma occupies the central portion of the stem. Meanwhile, in monocot stems, the ground tissues consist of a narrow and inconspicuous cortex, represented by 2 or 2 to 3 layers of a thick-walled sclerenchyma cells forming the hypodermis directly below the epidermis. The rest of the ground tissue is made up of parenchyma cells interspersed among the numerous and scattered vascular bundles. Procambium, which involves vascular tissues. The vascular tissues in young herbaceous dicot stems are in bundles arranged in a ring around the centrally located pith. Each vascular bundle is composed of an outer primary phloem and an inner primary xylem. The vascular cambium is absent. Note that each bundle appears like a skull or a human face with a forehead representing the phloem, composed mainly of seed tubes and companion cells. The xylem, usually orientated towards the center, is generally composed of vessels, parenchyma, fibers, and airspace. The xylem vessels, together with an airspace, are arranged in a Y-shaped manner. 2 large vessels appear as the eyes, 1 or 2 smaller vessels represent the nose, and the airspace represents the mouth. For modified or specialized stem, stolon, horizontal stem, fleshy or semi-woody and lies along the top of the ground. Runners grow on the soil surface and form a new plant at one or more of its nodes. tuber and large portion of an underground stem stores food for the plant. Rhizomes grow horizontally below the soil surface. Bulbs shorten, compress underground stem surrounded by a fleshy scale that envelopes a central bud located at the top of the stem. Corm, not the same as bulbs, but they have similar shapes that do not contain fleshy scales. Plant stems are more than just supports for leaves and flowers. They are lifelines that transport water, nutrients, and energy, ensuring a plant's growth and survival. We've explored their structures, functions, and diverse forms, seeing how they adapt to different environments and serve both nature and humanity in countless ways. Thank you for your attention, and I hope this presentation has inspired you to see plant stems not just as simple structures but as vital connectors that support life above and below the surface.